Kevin! Hey guys, Steveo here from Movies and TVs on the Ball, and guess what? Home Alone is 35 years old. How do you feel, millennials? And with it being 35 years old, and I think Home Alone 2 is getting to be just turned 30, is 33, I think. Um, how this video is more asking you guys, how would you rank all the Home Alone films? I feel like the first two with Macaulay Culkin probably the best. The second one, I I never real and I probably talked about this before. I probably talked about this before in talking about Home Alone. My other Home Alone video, that Home Alone 2 was kind of a retread of Home Alone. Even Chris Columbus and Macaulay Culkin mocked it in the first film's commentary. And then I think originally they planned to do a third Home Alone with Macaulay Culkin, but he got too old to do it. And that one was more on had Alex D. Linz and like the kind of the super spy organization with and it wasn't Kevin, it was somebody else, and it was kind of it was Alex, and he had to defend it through like super spies, and for me it wasn't as good as the first two. I think the first two are just going to be classics. I think the first one is really going to be classic because I think Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern really own the 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 film, and they really work it. And I feel like the original Home Alone is such lightning in the bottle. Everything sort of works for it. The second one is more of a retread. You have the old lady and the old man and old lady, old man Marley in the first one, old lady in this, oh, the pigeon lady in the second one. Third one, they had the old lady as well. And then they did, I think, a quasi sequel. I think they called it Home Alone 4, but they ended up calling it Home Alone Taking Back the House, where in that one it was like a younger Kevin McAllister, and Peter broke up with his Macaulay or Kevin McAllister's dad. Peter broke up um, with his wife, and he's dating like a socialite person, and then there's like French Stewart plays Marv or Harry, and it just didn't work. I want to know your thoughts on Home Alone 4 and 5, and then Sweet Home Alone was, I've seen a little bits and pieces of it, but I feel like Home Alone had some pretty interesting ideas. Like Kevin McAllister, it was a different kid. These thieves were wanting to steal a priceless thing because they need money to help out their dire straits, but it just doesn't work. And then but I feel like I really think the first two are probably the best. I feel like they work the most best because I think Macaulay Culkin and Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern worked so great with each other. The um, the first one felt like lightning in the bottle. Um, you know, second one I liked. I feel like the second one had some interesting ideas. I mean, I know a lot of people said, with like they had the cameo of Donald Trump, and they had I think they had, which was kind of timely for that time, but it's kind of interesting. Oh, the president, but that's a different story. Um, But how would you rank the Home Alone films? You know, I feel like the first one works pretty great because there's a lot of touches to it that I never really discovered in the first one. You know, the fact that how what does Peter McAllister do is kind of interesting. Like, is how did he make up? How does he can he afford to take his whole family to Paris, and um, how is it that then you had Frank, and I'm kind of more talking about the Frank in the first two, Frank, his brother, I think his brother or his brother-in-law, um, Frank, his brother or his brother-in-law, um, sorry, his Frank, his brother and brother-in-law are is kind of a I like the fact that he's very much of a cheapskate, and I like the fact that Kevin calls him out on it in Home Alone 2 because he says like there's a scene where where they're flying to Paris, and he is flying to Paris, and he is doing telling his wife to put the silver china or the silverware in his purse or in a purse, and we know John Hurt. I've seen him in films like Sharknado, and I've seen him in films, and I've seen him in episodes of The Sopranos, and I just kind of interesting. And I'm like, oh look, but he's always gonna be Mr. McAllister for me. But there's so much to say about these Home Alone films. I feel like the first one was lightning in a bottle. I think the second one works pretty well, and then the third one was kind of was written by John Hughes, was directed by a different director than Chris Columbus, and I think the third one didn't have its magic that the first one had, and I think it was interesting watching other people review first two. The second one, Home Alone 2, is because they do the same thing as they did. But I would have to say that Home Alone 1 and 2 are my favorites. The rest of them are hit or miss. I didn't even see the holiday heist, but let me know in the comments below what's your favorite Home Alone film. How would you rank them? Which one did you stop at? Two? Have you seen all six of them? Do you feel like the Home Alone films were kind of different than you thought? Did you feel like the third one was a little bit odd? Because I think in the third one they originally pitched it to Macaulay Culkin to do a third one, and I think the third one would have worked if they would have done Home Alone 3 probably in 95 instead of 97. Macaulay Culkin could have been in that age range to do at least one more kind of thing. And I do like what they did with Home Alone. I think Home Sweet Home Alone, is they had Kevin McAllister um, is now a owner of a security system, and Buzz is a police officer. So I feel like that worked pretty well, kind of for the continuity sake. But let me know. I'd probably let me know what your thoughts are on Home Alone. Let me know in the comments below. Would you rate them? And what do you think makes the original one or original two great? Why does three not work? Why does four not work? Do you feel like they just sort of kind of got a little bit too um, old, or do you feel like they worked? Did you like the fact that they kind of did? I kind of noticed that you had Old Man Marley, who was very menacing and scary for an 8-year-old, and you had the pigeon lady, which is pretty scary. But I don't think they really worked with the pigeon lady. lady. But going to talking about Home Alone 1 and 2, I am going to say that I think Harry and Marv are the perfect, and Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci were perfect for that role of the burglars. I think it worked really well. I think that I think Home Alone 1 and 2 are are pretty much classics in my take. I've seen a lot of people say Home Alone 1 and 2 are great, but ignore 3, 4, 5, and 6. But let me know in the comments below. And as always, like and subscribe. And happy holidays and Merry Christmas from Movies and TVs on the Ball. I hope you guys enjoy. And I just wanted to give Home Alone a shout out for its 35th anniversary. And let me know what your thoughts are on Home Alone. I do have to say that I did like in Home Alone. I do like the fact that Home Alone and Home Alone 2 really work. But anyway, that's my look at this. Is me kind of spitballing on the Home Alone films. Let me know in the comments below. And happy holidays. And Kevin, peace.